want to go ahead and start recording? Thank you.
Done.
Thank you so much to all of you for signing in. Oops, sorry. To our presentation tonight. First, want to review once again our mission. Our mission is to nurture the art and craft of quilting through inspiration and education, to support our communities through our craft, and to honor our quilting heritage. Tonight, we're going to be going through a review of the accomplishments for the fiscal year, which ended almost a year ago on September 30th of 2022. The report is a formal requirement as outlined in our bylaws of our 501(c)(3) nonprofit organization. We'll also talk briefly about some planning initiatives that took place during 2023 and on into some of the things that we're hoping to do in 2024. The initiatives for fiscal year 2022 included, oh, how is that happening? Key initiatives for 2022 included the introduction of our new logo, which was a very exciting launch. We worked on defining key actions in a transition planning brief, and the board has kept those in front of them as we have worked this year. We returned to St. Cloud for in-person show after the virtual show in 2021. And we did some work with equipment and training in order to figure out how to do in-person and online educational programs or hybrid meetings. And we faced quite a few challenges when we started that process. Minnesota Quilt Show returned to St. Cloud. Highlights: we honored 2 quilters of the year, Paige Johnson, who was our 2022 Quilter of the Year, and Mike Ellingson, who was our 2021 Quilter of the Year and was only able to show us his quilts online. So we invited him so that he could show them in person and we could all enjoy them up close and in real life. There were 12 special exhibits hosted. We had 14 faculty and 5 lecturers. There were a total of 39 workshops and 11 lectures, and our net income was over $31,000. Some of the new things we did to help increase engagement was the creation of the MQ Town Square, the Town Hall, Quilting for Others, Minnesota Quilt Project, Merchandise and Challenge, Meet the Quilters of the Year, and the quilt auction and merchandise were all in that centrally located area. We had monthly programs that required some technology upgrades, as I mentioned. Zoom sessions continued for part of the year. We had hybrid meetings starting in April. In September, we had the first meeting using the OWL technology, and we tested that technology with the assistance from Hudson Heritage Quilters, who loaned us their OWL, and it made the whole virtual meeting process much smoother. And so in 2023, we purchased that system and we have been using it. Now that we're post-pandemic, or excuse me, the planning required a lot of flexibility with instructors and lecturers last year. It was quite a challenging time. I know Laura worked very, very hard and very diligently to have good programs for us. And Laura, I want to applaud you for that because it was very challenging. And we're very thankful for all the technical aid from Brenda and all the other technical volunteers. This is a list of the programs that education presented over the 12 months. And I'm not going to go through them in detail, but you can see what a diverse menu, or what you want to call palette of programs that Laura was able to bring to our guild, that Lauren and her helpers. So again, thank you very much. Membership efforts in 2022. We continued having meetings, although COVID meant meetings continued via Zoom until April. And then we started the in-person and hybrid meetings. There was an increase in our membership dues in January of 2022, where they were increased from $40. And I can't remember how many years it had been 40, but it seems to me it was a lot of years. I remember adding them up at the time, but I don't remember what that number was. And then we increased the business membership to 75. We also accomplished an increase in our membership from 684 to 763. And I'll be showing you a chart that shows that we are growing back membership after the COVID. We lost quite a few members during COVID. And Kelly Willis was chosen as the Outstanding Volunteer of the Year, and membership worked with obtaining the nominations, presenting them to the board for a vote, and then also all the honor portions to get to honor Kelly and invite her to the show, etc. Hang on just a minute. My husband's doing the dishes, so I'm sorry if you hear clinking and clanking in the background, but not too sorry because I love it that he does it for me. So here's the membership counts that I was mentioning. And we can see in 2018, we had 974 members. And that was right after we had done a rollback membership. I believe we did a rollback membership right about that time. And we went back to the original dues of, like, I don't know, $10 for new members. And so we got a big increase in members at that time. And you can see in 2020, when COVID hit, we were still at 850 and we dropped down to 684, but we're starting to come back up. I do not know where we're at today. I did not have that piece of information available to share. But it will be in the report for this calendar, for this fiscal year, which ends at the end of this current month. Financial statement, 2021, 2022. We did sustain a financial loss in 2022. However, if you look at the very bottom of this chart where there's a little asterisk, our investment income had dropped $36,000 in 2022. So that was the major reason we had a shortfall. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, the bottom corner here, we were $35,000 negative, and 36,000 of it was a loss in our investments.
Mary, if what that is showing is really a decrease in our unrestricted net assets. It's not that we're in the hole. We still had assets on hand.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misstated that.
Just to clarify, yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is showing how what is happening in with our net assets over the course of the year. So basically our savings and investment accounts changed these years, and this is showing how much it changed. So the year we had no show, it dropped by $125,000. With the virtual show, we still eked out a little bit of a profit. And last year, due to the investments drop, we did not make a profit. And this is a picture of the financial position. It shows our expenses, revenue, net assets, and net assets and liabilities at year end. So the dark column is our income, and the paler green is our expenses. And just a note here of the year, as well as where the show was, just because sometimes that becomes interesting. And what's interesting here is, and what is this line, Win? Net assets.
Net assets end of year. For some reason, there's a mistake in the label at the bottom, but it's net assets end of year. And
okay, so that's just showing where our assets were here. Oops, I don't know how to go back. So over here, there. Sorry, but anyway, this is showing. What this is showing to me is that we're still doing pretty well, but our assets have gone down a little bit. And as you can see, these last 2 years, our income and our assets were very close to balanced, which is a wonderful thing. And as long as we can keep this well balanced, we'll do great. If we have any more years like this one in particular, we will have some challenges. But I think we're doing quite well at this point in time. The other initiatives I'm going to talk about are the Minnesota Quilt Project, Quilting for Others. The mystery quilt and transition planning. I have slides on some of these, but on the mystery quilt program, I do not have a slide. I just have a statement that we had 202 participants, and Susie Webster was the designer, and there was a great display of a number of those quilts at the 2023 quilt show. Hopefully you were able to see it and enjoy it. And then the last item is the transition planning and board recruitment. Minnesota Quilt Project has continued to do the good work that they do. They published quilter stories in the MQ newsletter. They interviewed people either orally or in writing and shared them with all of us in the newsletters. They sponsored our March meeting featuring Pat Cox's log cabin quilts. They documented the winning quilts, any that were from Minnesota, any of the winners of first place awards who were from Minnesota were documented for the 2022 quilt show. And they contributed substantially to our auction proceeds with the MQ, during the quilt auction. They had their own section of the booth and their own projects that they sold or auctioned. Quilting for Others donated over 1,000 quilted items, including twin, lap, kid, and baby quilts, as well as placemats, Christmas stockings, and totes. They met weekly throughout the year, even when we were not having in-person meetings. They offered kits, heartstring blocks, tops for quilting, and quilts to bind, etc. They are a that organization, and what they do for us and help us organize to do as an organization is a very big part of our mission. And so we really appreciate all the hard work that goes into that, and everybody who contributes to that. And there are many of us in this organization who contribute to that. Wynn, do you want, I don't know if you're.
Yeah, I can go. So as we're getting ready to do the annual report, typically, to me, what's an unusual thing is that we've always looked backwards when we do this report, so that, Mary was president through September of 2022. And then we spend time, it takes a surprising amount of time to pull together the financials and close out the year. So we're a bit late in doing the annual report this year. And we thought, well, now another whole year is almost passed. So we thought we'd include a snippet of some of the things that have happened since last October. So as I said, fiscal year 2022 really was a time when we were doing a lot of rebuilding and reimagining our organization. There was a lot of planning going on. And what we've found out since then, because we did engage a consultant to help us do some work this year, is that we found out the key to our growth really, and this is no surprise, is engaging with our members, our partners, and our supporters. Because if you find that you are happy to be a part of Minnesota Quilters, then that just bodes well for the success of the organization. So as we move forward, my primary concerns for the coming year, we will, and you'll see this reflected in a lot of the program, is that we will continue to be looking for ways to grow our membership. We will be looking for ways to have the programming fit as well as we can to member needs and interests. And so we'll have lots of opportunities where you can engage through programs or sew-ins or other activities like that. And as always, there will be funding of one kind or another that we'll be looking for, or we'll be soliciting your support. One of the things that we found to be especially true this year is that the post-pandemic world of shows and conferences has changed dramatically. We've seen 2 shows close down, and we don't intend to be one of the shows that happens to, but it does mean that we need to look at other outside funding sources. Next slide, Mary. Is she there?
Yes.
There you are. Thank you. So in terms of strategic initiatives, I think it was in 2022 that we came out with the transition planning report, which was some internal strategic planning that we did. And I just wanted to give you all an update to show you both what happened during Mary's term in office and then my work this year and where we think we're going for 2024. But I think, we've done some really good work in terms of understanding what board governance is about and how we should be structured as an organization. And you will start to see some of those changes coming through. Some of them are bylaw changes and some are just sort of process and organization things. We'll be doing some more planning and working on the fundraising things that I talked about, and recruitment efforts. We've got some ideas on how we can find other people who are interested, because we need more people on the board, and we'll continue to do that. In terms of engagement, this is really kind of an exciting thing. One of the things we're going to do is have a director of engagement. And that role, at least for now, because it wasn't part of this year's election, but Mia Clift has been working as a membership director. She's very much has a great passion for membership activities. And so she's going to be working on this outreach and will take on the role of being the director of engagement as well as the president-elect. So you will get to know Mia quite well over the next few months. Other efforts continue. We did have brand new logo was launched, and of course the new website just popped up. So if you haven't had a chance to look at that, by all means go to minquilts.org and you can see all that's changed there. And probably the biggest, one of the changes that's really important is that we've realized how much technology is starting to impact the way that we do things. It's how we communicate, it's how we handle registrations, it's how we do everything. And so installing OWL was just the beginning of it. We're looking and will be looking at other things that need to be enhanced in some way, helping us going forward. Pat Kurtner is sending a note. Thanks for posting that on chat. That it's minquilt.org. Thanks, Pat. Next slide, Mary.
And then this is where we've been with recruitment over the last few years, shows us the people who've had the office in the 2021-2022 year, and who is currently in office. We did not have a candidate for president-elect. So now we're trying to figure out how to manage our guild and decide if we really need to have 3 president positions. And that's one of the things that we'll be working on, that we worked on a lot with Creations in Common, our consultant, and we'll be looking at when we change our, look at some bylaw changes to change the structure of the board. For 2023-2024, Wynn has graciously volunteered to stay in the president's spot. Mia Clift has raised her hand to step up to the president-elect. Past president position will be vacant because I am not going to do it again, and Wynn is not available because she's already president, or will be. We do have Marcy's continuing as treasurer. We have an opening for a secretary, so if we could get if somebody might be interested in taking minutes at our meetings, we really appreciate them letting us know. Laura will be leaving the education. She's worked hard for us the last several years. And again, I thank you so much, Laura. So Liz McHenry will continue, along with a new board member who is currently up for election. And communications will be Karen Kapitsky and a new board member up for election in that area. Pat Kurtner, who's worked very hard on our logo and our website, and is currently acting as our webmaster, has done a lot of incredible work for us. And I thank Pat very much. Jan Schmidt and Mia Clift are both leaving the membership area. Jan has completed her 2-year term and Mia has stepped up for president-elect. So at this time, we have 2 positions on the board that are open. The board is intending, and we just haven't voted on it yet, but we intend to appoint Wendy Kaiser. That's the right word, to appoint Wendy Kaiser as Mia's replacement for the balance of her term, which will be 1 year. And then we have a candidate who has stepped forward for the 2nd year. And you can find all of those on your voting information that was sent out to you. If you haven't had a chance to vote yet, please look for your email on August 31st. And then operations is also open. Kathy stepped up and filled in a vacancy for an extra year. Rio is done with his 2-year term. And so we are also looking for someone still to help us with operations. And the staff and the other board members will have to pick up the slack until or if we find somebody for that position. And so here's another, see your email from August 31st. We have nominations for these positions. These are down here are the positions that have not yet, that we do not have anyone. And the past president position is likely to be eliminated when we reconfigure the board. For any further information on this, please call the MQ office and you will be directed to the right person to talk to on that. The annual report, which is a compilation of each director's accomplishments for the year, covering the dates of October 1 of 2021 to September 30th of 2022. A full copy will be available soon. There's just a few more tweaks that Wynn and I need to add to it before we post it. It will be posted on the MQ website, again, mnquilt.org. Click on About dropdown and select Annual Report. And once it's published, that's where you'll find it. But don't look today. We'll also have a link in Thursday Thimbleful. There will be a link in the treasurer section of the report for if you have any questions on finances. And you can also, if you have any questions on finances, you can email treasurer@mnquilt.org. Then I want to make sure that we take the time to thank our staff, Brenda, Deborah, and we forgot Amy. I'm sorry. For some reason, we forgot to type Amy's name in. Oh, I know why. She was not with us in 2022. She is now. Sorry, Amy, but all the board members, show committee leadership and volunteers, all the volunteers who volunteer year-long throughout the organization, our teachers, sponsors, and vendors, and other presenters, and each and every individual and business member, and all those who donate financially or through in-kind support or with the gift of time. That completes our presentation. Before we draw door prizes, does anybody want to ask does anybody have any questions? If you do, please unmute yourself. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions.
Well, I have one, and I probably should know the answer, but just the new position, the director of engagement, just what do you see that position doing, or the job responsibilities, or the goals that they're going to accomplish?
We
haven't really defined that completely yet, Laura. So I think it's a little premature to be talking about it for this audience. But we do expect that person to I don't know, Mia, do you want to talk just like 2 minutes?
Yeah, I can jump in. Yeah, I was kind of surprised, honestly. I was like, oh, hey, I got a new title. Hooray. So when we talked to the consultants, it was apparent that our biggest challenge and our biggest motivator for success in our organization is engagement. You know, as we saw with the pandemic, we had a drop in membership. We're not seeing a lot of engagement other than the show or our virtual meetings, and we really want to get more people involved. So how do we build community? How do we bring people back? How do we get people to stick? How do we get the youth in? How do we get new members? So a lot of what I focused on is when I was in membership, and now as president-elect, hopefully, if y'all vote, will be about focusing on engagement. So it'll be things like sewing days after the meetings on Saturdays. It'll be rogue outings to places like breweries. It'll be engaging with some of our partners, checking with our quilt stores, seeing what we can do, maybe running a beginner's retreat to teach people how to quilt, because that's a big demand in the community. People are asking how to quilt, but they're also asking how to quilt affordably. So finding those opportunities in the space to really bring more people to the table, partner with our other organizations throughout the Twin Cities and throughout the state. That's really what we're looking at in the realm of engagement. So if you have any ideas, or if you want to run an event, or if you live outside of the Twin Cities and you want to do something to coordinate, please reach out, because we need your help. I need your help. I can't do this all by myself, unfortunately. I cannot clone myself, and I have a day job. But I want to do everything I can to keep the organization going, bring the next generation forward into quilting, and have fun while doing it.
Thank you, Mia.
Thank-
And when
thank
do you
you.
see that there's a question on when are the voting results announced? Do you remember what date the voting closes?
Yes, the voting will close on September 25th. By the bylaws, we are required to provide a month's opportunity for people to vote. And so if you haven't voted yet, there still is time to do so.
Okay, thank you. So Win, you're gonna help me with the door prizes, right?
I am.
What we have tonight is the first 3 door prizes are going to be a mystery. And the reason they're a mystery is because I forgot it's fabric and patterns. And I forgot it at the MQ office, and I do not have any pictures of it. And unfortunately today, when my husband was going to go pick them up for me, nobody was at the office. So anyway, what I will be doing is I'll collect your names, and then by the order that they're chosen, I will send you pictures and you can tell me which one you want. So that's how silly this first one's going to be. So it's the mystery package, mystery door prize. So Win, could you please choose the first name?
All right, spinning the magic wheel here. I have Catherine Genelin.
Okay, Catherine,
Yes,
can you please put your address, your email address at this time, just in the chat, please?
okay, I sure can.
And you'll get the first choice at the mystery pack prizes. Okay, Win, and who's number 2?
Number 2 is, I wish I had a sound effect here of a spinning wheel.
I'm going to stop sharing. We don't need this. We can see each other's faces now a little
All
bit.
right.
Those of us
So-
who chose to be seen.
So number 2 is Cecilia Dahl.
And
Are you here?
Cecilia, can you?
Yeah, I'm here. I'll put my address in. Thanks.
Thank you. And the third mystery prize.
Goes to Naomi Brill.
I'm also here.
Thank-
All right.
Okay, and the last door prize is a $100 gift certificate to the quilt shop of your choice. So if you Win, will pull that last name, and then if that person can just email past Perez at mnquilt.org, and I'll put that in the notes. And you would let me know what quilt shop, and we will get that to you.
And the winner is Trish Timms.
I'm here. I'm so excited. Yay. Can I just say Pine Needles in Rochester, or do you need me to email it to you?
Nope, you could just tell me, that's fine. Pine Needles
Pine
in
Needles.
Rochester.
But I'll put my
Your
I can't even
address,
talk. I'm
please.
so excited. My email address in the
And
chat.
can you put your street address, since I'll be mailing it to you?
Oh, sure.
It'll just help.
Sure.
Okay,
Okay,
Well,
don't
that-
shut it off.
yep, not until I see
All
it,
we
I won't
want.
turn it off. But everybody else, that concludes our meeting. If there's anything anybody else wants to talk about or bring up with this group of folks, now's your opportunity.
Any other questions?
Thank you all so much for joining us. I very much appreciate your attendance.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm so
Thanks,
happy.
everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good meeting
night.
you.
Thank you. And Linda, please don't shut down the meeting until I get these addresses. So print the chat.
Okay.
Is there a way, how do you print the chat? That's kind of easy, isn't it?
I've got the names and I just hit a copy chat button.
Okay, good. Okay, thanks.
So I think we're set.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Win. Thank you,
Bye.
Linda.
Yep. Say, Mary, can you stay on a second after
bet.
everybody goes?
You bet.
Oh, I'm gonna stop recording.